Hi, good afternoon everyone and welcome to Moyo Math. I'm Mr. Moyo and today we're going to be looking at the solutions for January 2023 CSEC paper 1 past paper. So let's get into it. Question 1. What is the value of the digit 2 in the number 48.621? So the value of the digit 2 in that number, of course, any digits after the point, 6 will be tenths, 2 will be hundredths. So the answer for question 1 will be A. This will be 2 all over 100. So 48.621, the 2 will be 2 all over 100. So that is A. Let's look at question 2. What percentage of 50 is 10? What percentage of 50 is 10? So for question 2, we have X percent. Let's assume our percentage is X percent times 50 is equal to 10. So we need to determine what is X. So to do so, we are going to create, of course, an equation. This will be 2 zeros cancel, 5 into 5, 1, 5 into 10, 2. This is X over 2 is equal to 10 over 1. And at this point, we can cross multiply. 1 by X is X, 2 by 10 will give us 20%. Whose answer here is B. Let's look at question 3. In standard notation, 0.02086 is written as, so question 3, so we have to write that number in standard notation. Standard notation means that this number must be expressed in the form a by 10 to the power of n. So a simply means that that number must lie between 1 and 10. It must be more than or equal to 1 but less than 10. So to make that happen, we're going to move this decimal point 2 places to the right. So this becomes 2.086 multiplied by 10, which is fixed. And because we move that point 2 places to the right, then it's going to become negative 2. So when that point moves to the right, it becomes negative. And because we move 2 places to the right, it will be negative 2. And that answer there for question 3 will be C. Let's look at question 4. So question 4. In a school, the ratio of the number of pupils to the number of teachers is 20 to 1. If the number of pupils is 840, how many teachers are there? So for question 4, we have here, this is a ratio question. We have this ratio, 20 to 1. Of course, 20 will represent your pupils and 1 represents teachers. And with the ratios, we want to create a proportional relationship. So if the number of pupils is 840, so we know the number of pupils will be 840. What we can do is to create an equation or a relationship between your proportional part and the number of pupils. So in this case, 20 proportional parts is equal to 840. We can find for 1 proportional part, which will represent teachers, and that will be found by dividing 840 by 20, and 840 divided by 20 will give us 42, whose answer there is B. Let's look at question 5. A bag of apples can be shared equally among either 6, 10, or 15 children. The minimum number of apples that is likely to be in the bag is. Let's treat with this question. Now, keyword here, minimum number. When we see the word minimum number or least number in a question, what this should automatically take us to will be the method of the LCM. So for question 5, we're going to find the LCM of those 3 numbers, 6, 10, and 15. And in finding the LCM, what do? We start by dividing the lowest prime number, which is 2, into numbers that can be exactly divisible by 2. So we start with 2, and numbers that can be exactly divisible by 2 are 2 into 6 is 3, 2 into 10 is 5. Now 2 can divide into 15, but cannot be exactly divisible into 15. But what we're going to do is bring down 15. Normally you continue dividing 2, but in this case, we cannot continue dividing 2 because 2 cannot divide exactly into any of those numbers. We move to the next prime number, which is 3. So we divide 3 exactly into 3 to give us 1. 3 cannot divide exactly into 5, so we bring down 5. And 3 into 15 is what? 5. So we're gonna move to the next prime because 3 cannot divide exactly into any of those numbers. So the next prime will be 5. We divide 5 into 1. It cannot divide exactly, so we bring down 1. 5 into 5 is 1. 5 into 5 is 1. So we divide until we arrive at 1. So therefore the LCM will be to multiply all your prime factors, which will be 3 by 2 is 6 and 6 by 5 is 30. So the answer for question 5 is E, 30. Let's move on to question 6. So question 6, we have here in question 6, if 4.3 multiplied by 0.37 is equal to 1.591, then 43 multiplied by 0.37 is. So question 6, we have here 4.3 multiplied by 0.37 is equal to 1.591. So then, what is 43 multiplied by 0.37? Of course, to treat with this, what are we going to do? To get to 43, it means that this decimal point in 4.3 must move one place to the right. Yeah? And if it moves one place to the right, it means we're going to multiply 4.3 by 10. Yeah? 0.375, of course, remains 0.375. So this will be the same as multiplying 0.375 by 10 to the power of 0, which is equal to 1. That doesn't change. So of course the power will be 0. The point doesn't move. So the power will be 0. And 10 to the power of 0 is equal to 1. And we know 10 by 1 will give us what? 10. So we're going to multiply 1.591 by 10. And when we multiply 1.591 by 10, it means that this decimal point will move one place to the right. And therefore, 43, which is obtained by multiplying 4.3 by 10, and 0.37, which is of course obtained by multiplying 0.37 by 10 to the power 0.1, will give us 1.591 by 10, which becomes 15.91, whose answer is B. Let's move on to question 7. So question 7. Which of the following sets is defined by X belong to Z? Z of course represents integers. Integers are both positive and negative numbers. And if we have to indicate which of the following sets is defined by that set notation, it's called a set notation, then what are we going to do here? This is simply negative 2 less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 4, can be broken up into negative 2 is less than or equal to x, and x is less than or equal to 4. Now, negative 2 less than or equal to x can be rewritten as x is greater than or equal to negative 2, and x less than or equal to 4, that stays as is. So on a number line, let's show x greater than or equal to negative 2 and x less than or equal to negative 4, and let's see what the range of numbers, of course, will fall within the given inequality shown. So we have here 0, negative 1, negative 2, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if it's x greater than or equal to negative 2 at negative 2, and I have my shaded circle because it is greater than or equal to, it means I'm going to point my arrow to the right, because all numbers to the right of -2 obviously will be greater than, and we shade the circle to indicate equal to -2, and we have x less than or equal to 4, so I indicate 4 is shaded, and of course I'm going to point my arrow to the left, which indicates all numbers that are less than or equal to 4, and less than or equal to I've shaded to indicate less than or equal to. So all numbers that lies within the range are, you must include -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and you must include 4. Whose answer there is D. Let's look at question 8. So question 8. So we have here a set question. So for question 8, item 8 refers to the following Venn diagram, which shows two intersecting sets P and Q. In the Venn diagram, the number of elements in set P is equal to 5, the number of elements in set Q is equal to 9, and the number of elements in set P union Q, this represents union, is equal to 10. So they want us to find the number of elements in the shaded region of the Venn diagram. So question 8. If we have to find the number of elements in that shaded region, we have some important variables that can allow us to create an important equation for the union of two sets. So the number of elements in P union Q is equal to the number of elements in P plus the number of elements in Q minus the number of elements in P intersect Q. So that's an important formula you have to know, representing the union of two sets. And let's put in all the relevant information. The number of elements in P union Q, we have 10 elements. The number of elements in set P will be 5 elements. The number of elements, and this should be Q. The number of elements in set Q will be 9 elements minus the number of elements in P intersect Q. Now, our objective is to find the number of elements in P intersect Q. So we have created a simple equation here. 10 is equal to 5 plus 9, which is 14, minus the number of elements in P intersect Q. What we can do now is bring the number of elements in P intersect Q to the left. So it comes across as positive. The number of elements in P intersect Q is equal to, I'm going to take 10 and I'm going to bring 10 over to the right. This becomes 14, and you know positive 10 comes across as negative 10. And therefore the number of elements in P intersect Q will be equal to 4. Whose answer there is B. Let's look at question 9. So question 9. It states here, which of the following pairs of sets is an example of disjoint sets? So which is an example of disjoint sets? This answer here will be question 9. This answer will be A. And why will this answer be A? Because we have two sets. We have E, which represents even numbers, and we have F, which represents odd numbers. Of course, disjoint sets will be two sets that has nothing common to them. So we have E, we have F, no elements common to both, so the intersection of those two sets are empty. And if we take even numbers, for example, if we take even numbers are numbers obviously that can be exactly divisible by 2. So you're looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, dot, 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 all the way to infinity. And if we're looking at F, odd numbers are numbers that cannot be exactly divisible by 2. You're looking at 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, dot, 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 all the way to infinity. And if we look at those two sets, we have no elements common to both. So therefore, the intersection of sets E and F will be represented by the empty set. No common elements, and hence it will represent disjoint sets. Our answer there will be E for question 9. Let's look at question 10. So question 10. So question 10 states, all students in a class play Scrabble or checkers or both. If 36% of the students play Scrabble only and 16% of the students play both Scrabble and checkers, what percentage of the students play checkers but not Scrabble? So this here is a set question. So we can draw a Venn diagram to assist us in this regard. This is your universal set. We have here two subsets which will be indicated by circles. One subset will represent Scrabble and the other subset will represent checkers. And we have shown where one subset overlaps the other, one circle overlaps the other, because what was mentioned in the question, it states 16% of the students play both Scrabble and checkers, so we must show where they both intersect. So if we put in the information, it says if 36% of the students play Scrabble only, now we need to recognize where it's Scrabble only. This region here represents Scrabble only, this region. And therefore 36% of the students play Scrabble only. Right? 16% of the students play both, so we can put 16% in the middle region there, because that represents intersection. And they want us to now determine what percentage of students play checkers but not Scrabble. So checkers but not Scrabble will be this region which represents checkers only. So for us to determine that, the universal set is 100%. Good? And if we have to determine those who play checkers only, so checkers only will be to add the students who play Scrabble only, so those students who play both Scrabble and checkers, and we're going to subtract it from the total number of students in that class. So this will be 36% plus 16% from 100%. This becomes 36 plus 16 will give us 52%, and 52% from 100, that will give us 48%. So the answer for question 10 will be B. Let's look at question 11. So question 11. So question 11 states, right, I hope you're enjoying these questions, very beneficial to help you for your exam coming up in the next few weeks. Alright? So question 11 refers to the following Venn diagram which shows two intersecting sets. The number of students in each set is indicated. So we have the number of students in each set. So in the Venn diagram, U represents the universal set, students who play games, H, students who play hockey, V, students who play volleyball. How many students play either hockey or volleyball but not both? So to treat with this, either hockey or volleyball will be students who play hockey only, or volleyball will be students who play volleyball only. But not both, of course, means we're excluding the intersection. So therefore, for us to determine the number of students who play either hockey or volleyball, but not both, will be for question 11. So that will be the number of students who play hockey only, which is equal to 5 students, and and we're going to add that to the number of students who play volleyball only. And that will be equal to 4 students. So the total number of students who play either, so total number of students who play either hockey or volleyball will be equal to 5 plus 4, which is 9 students, whose answer there is C. So let's move on to question 12. So question 12. So question 12. The set of 2-digit positive integers that are divisible by 7 is an example of. So for question 12, we're looking at the set of 2-digit positive integers. So 2-digit positive integers will start from 10 all the way to 99. Yeah, those are 2-digit positive integers. And therefore, we are looking at the set of 2-digit integers that are divisible by 7. So we know we have 14 is divisible by 7. We have 21 is divisible by 7. And so we keep going until we arrive at the last 2-digit integer, positive integer, that is divided by 7, and that is 98. And because we can count the number of elements, then the answer for question 12 will be D, which is a finite set. A finite set is a set where we can count the number of elements. So we can count the number of elements in that set, and your answer there will be D. Let's move on to question 13. So question 13. It states here, for every 100 sales or part thereof, a salesman is paid $10 as commission. If his sales for a particular month were $1,020, how much commission was he paid? So for every $100, sales or part, $100 sales or part thereof, a salesman is paid $10 in commission. Of course, commission is a percentage of sales. And if for this month he made $1,020, then let's see how many $100 was obtained for that particular month. So number of $100 for month will be equal to, we're going to take 1,020 and we're going to divide it by 100. And when we divide it by 100, we're going to get what? 10.2. That's all. So therefore, if this salesman is paid a $10 commission for every $100 sales, then his commission will be, so the commission will be to multiply the number of 100 out of this 1,020, which is 10.2, by $10. And when we multiply 10.2 by $10, of course, we move the point one place to the right to get 102. So his commission will be $102, whose answer there is for question 13C. Let's move on to question 14. So question 14. The simple interest on $600 for 3 years at 5% per annum is $120. The value of T is, so the simple interest on $600 for 3 years after 5% per annum is 120. What is the value of T? So T represents our time in years, and that is found by simply multiplying 100 by the simple interest all over the principal by the rate. Our interest in this case is, we have 100, the interest is 120, the principal it is 600, so that's how much was invested, and the rate is a percentage which is 5%. So the time is equal to our answer for this question will be B. So for question 14, your answer is B. Let's move on to question 15. So question 15. At a bank, EC $2.60 is equivalent to US $1. For every US $1 exchange, EC 10 cents is deducted as an exchange tax. How many EC dollars will Leon receive if he exchanges US $1,000? So first of all, let's determine how much EC is US $1,000 equal to. This is a question dealing with currency, dealing with foreign exchange. So therefore, we are going to begin by converting US 1,000 to EC. I'm going to use the relationship given. So we know we have to convert US to EC. Whatever we have to convert to goes on the right of the relationship. So we're going to write US $1 is equal to EC $2.60. So therefore, US $1,000 will simply be to multiply EC $2.60 by 1,000. And when we multiply EC $2.60 by 1,000, this point will move 3 places to the right. 1, 2, 3. So that becomes EC $2,600, right? That's what the US 1,000 is equivalent to in EC. But it states here for every one US $1 exchange, EC 10 cents is deducted as an exchange tax. So for every one US dollar exchange, so we have 1,000 US, so that's of course 1,000 US dollars, not so, and therefore that's 1,000 US dollars. And if every one US dollar EC 10 cents is deducted, then that will be equivalent to what? How many EC will be deducted? So deduction will be to multiply US 1,000 by 10 cents. And if we multiply that by 10 cents, we're going to get, so that will be 1,000 by 10 cents, which will give us $100. Yeah? So that will be EC $100. So this is what's going to be deducted. So therefore, the amount this person, Leon, will receive at the end of his exchange will be, amount received will be to subtract EC $100 from EC $2,600 to give us EC $2,500. Right? Whose answer there is C. If you like the content so far, what is being shared, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's move on now to question 16. So question 16. Question 16. A calculator which is marked at $120 is sold for cash at 30% discount. How much change will Susan receive if she pays for the calculator with a $100 bill? So, for question 16, the mark price is $120. The discount is 30%. So let's determine what's the discount first. So the discount on the calculator will be to find 30% of $120. That's 30 over 100 times 120. And that will give us 0 cancel. 12 by 3 will be $36. So the discounted price will be to subtract $36 from $120. So $36 from $120, that will give us $84. Yeah? And if she pays for this calculator with a $100 bill, how much change would she receive? So change received will be to subtract $84 from $100, and that will give us what? $16. Whose answer for question 16 is A. Let's move on to question 17. So question 17, it says here, a man pays 60 cents for every 200 meter cube of gas used, plus a fixed charge. If he pays $178.75 when he uses 55,000 meter cube of gas, how much is the fixed charge? So if it's 60 cents on every 200 meter cube, then what will be the cost on 55,000 meter cube of gas? So let's determine the cost. So for us to determine the cost on 55,000 meter cube, so cost on 55,000 meter cube of gas. So this is found by creating again a proportional relationship between the volume of gas used and money. So let's create a proportional relationship. We're going to state here 200 meter cube is equal to 60 cents. And because we want to convert 55,000 meter cube into money, money is placed on the right of the relationship. So 1 meter cube is equal to 60 cents divided by 200, and therefore 55,000 meter cube will be 60 cents divided by 200 multiplied by 55,000. We can use our calculator at this point to calculate. Now, with your multiple choice, you cannot use calculators, but I'm using my calculator just to save some time with the question. So this will be 60 cents divided by 200. That's 0.003 multiplied by 55,000. And when I multiply that by 55,000, I'm going to get $165. So 55,000 meter cube of gas is equal to $165. And if he pays $178.75, then what is the fixed charge? So the fixed charge will be to subtract $165 from $178.75. And when we subtract those two, we are going to get here $178.75 subtract 178.75 subtract 165 will give us $13.75. Whose answer is A? Of course, we're not using calculators, right? So we have to make sure we can apply our computational skills to the question. So this answer here will be A. Let's look at question 18. So question 18. So 18. It states here, a plot of land presently valued at $12,000 appreciates in value at a rate of 2.5% per annum. what is the value of the plot of land 1 year later? So we know land appreciates, and if we have to determine the value of that plot of land 1 year later, so we know value of plot of land initially, so initial value is $12,000. It appreciates at a rate of 2.5% per annum. So the value of the plot of land 1 year later, so appreciated value will be to find 2.5% of $12,000. So that is 2.5 over 100 multiplied by 12,000. So this will be my 2 zeros cancel out. And that is going to be 2.5 multiplied by 120. So you're going to get $300. So if it appreciates by $300, that's the appreciated value, then the value of the plot of land 1 year later, so final value 1 year later will be to add $300 to $12,000, which will give us $12,300. And the answer for question 18, that is D. Let's move on to question 19. So question 19, it says, so question 19, it says, a loan of $8,000 was paid back in 2 years in monthly payments of $400. The interest on the loan as a percentage was. So your loan of $8,000, it was paid back in 2 years, monthly payments of $400, right? So amount repaid, let's calculate the amount repaid will be to multiply $400, and we're not going to multiply by 2 years, we're going to multiply, convert those 2 years into what? To months. That's 400 multiplied by 24 months, and 400 by 24 months will give us what? $9,600. So this is the amount repaid. So therefore, the interest on the loan, so the interest on loan will be to subtract $8,000 from $9,600, and 8,000 from 9,600 will give us $1,600. So that will be the interest on the loan. So therefore, they want us to determine the interest on the loan as a percentage. So the interest on loan as a percentage, interest on loan as a percentage will be to put 1,600 over 8,000 multiplied by 100. And let's see what that's going to work out to. So this will work out to, of course, my zeros cancel, my zeros cancel, 0, 0 cancel. 8 into 8, 1, 8 into 16, 2. 2 by 10 will give us what? 20%. Yeah? And of course, I had the right answer circle before. Yeah? So we have 20%. So let's move on to question 20. So question 20. So 20 states, an article bought for $125 was sold for $175. The profit as a percentage of the cost price is. So if we have to determine profit as a percentage, or sometimes we say percentage profit, the percentage profit, it is simply your profit over the cost price by 100. And your profit, it is simply your selling price, which is $175, minus your cost price, which is $125. We're going to put it all over the cost price, which is $125, and we're going to multiply it by 100. So 125 from 175 will give us 50. 50 all over 125 multiplied by 100. And when we work that out, what are we going to get? We are going to get here, we can simply say 5 into, we can say 25. 25 into 50 is 2. And 25 into 125 is 5. We can say 5 into 5 is 1. 5 into 100 is 20. And 20 by 2 will give us 40%. Will be the percentage increase, whose answer is B. Let's move on to question 21. So question 21, the product of a number 2p over 3 and its reciprocal may be written as. So product, of course, means to multiply. And if we have to find the reciprocal of 2 over p, so reciprocal of 2p over 3 is, that will be equal to 3 over 2p. So we simply invert it. And they want us to express the product of the number 2p over 3 and its reciprocal. So therefore, the product of the number 2p over 3 and its reciprocal, which is what we have here, 3 over 2p, may be written as, and when we look, the answer there is C. All right, so I hope you're understanding and enjoying what is being shared. So let's look at question 22. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel in the description below. So let's look at question 22. So 22, the area of a rectangle in cm squared is x squared. So they gave us that rectangle. We have the information. The length is x minus 4. The width is 2 centimeters. The equation that may be used to find the value of x is. So the area of a rectangle, we know it's what? Length by breadth or length by width. We know the area, it is x squared. We know the length, it is x minus 4 times the width, which is 2. And therefore, we can format this to be stated as 2 into x minus 4. Of course, x squared is equal to 2 into x minus 4. And your answer there for 22, it is E. Let's move on to question 23. So 23. Althea normally saves X dollars each month, but in June she saved $4 more than twice her usual amount. In June she saved. So Althea saves, she saves X dollars each month, but in the month of June she saved $4 more than twice her usual amount. So twice her usual amount will be to multiply 2 by x. So that's 2x dollars. And remember, she saves $4 more than twice her amount. So in June, she saves $4 more than twice her amount. It means we have to add $4 to 2x. And of course, that answer will be written as, we can put this 2x plus 4 in brackets, and that answer for question 23, it is D. Let's move on to question 24. The 24 is pretty straightforward. Once we practice these questions, it's going to certainly help you in preparation for that exam in the next few weeks. All right, so 24. if 3 plus x over 2 is equal to 1, what is the value of x? So this here is a simple equation to solve. We can move 3 from the left to the right of the equal sign. Positive 3 will come across to the right as negative 3. And this becomes x over 2 is equal to negative 2. And to remove this equation from its fraction, I can put negative 2 over 1. And because I have single fractions on either side, you can implement what you call cross multiplication. So 1 by x is x. 2 by negative 2 is negative 4. So the answer for question 24 is B. Let's look at question 25. So 25, 5 to the power of n plus 1 multiplied by 5 to the power of n plus 2 is the same as. So this is where your knowledge of multiplication of indices will come into play. And with the rule, when you're multiplying, this is known as a base. N plus 1 and n plus 2 are powers. So once the base are the same, we maintain the base 5, but the powers we're going to add. N plus 1 plus n plus 2, which becomes 5 to the power of n plus n is 2n, and 1 plus 2 is plus 3. So we have 5 to the power of 2n plus 3, whose answer there is B. Let's look at question 26. So 26, if A, and this is the topic, the name of this topic, question for this topic is called binary operations. And if we have A asterisk B is equal to A squared plus B squared, then the value of 3 asterisk 4 asterisk 2 is. So to treat with this, we're going to work out first what is 3 asterisk 4, and it's a simple case of using this relationship to assist you. So we let A be equal to 3 and B be equal to 4. And we're going to substitute A and B, the values, into that expression given. So therefore, 3 dots, this becomes A squared plus B squared will be 3 in brackets squared plus 4 in brackets squared. That's 9 plus 16, which is equal to 25. So that's the result of 3 asterisk 4. So therefore, what's going to happen? So 3 asterisk 4 asterisk 2 is the same as 25 asterisk 2. And to find that result, we're using this relationship again. So what do? We let A be 25 and B be 2. And all I'm going to do is substitute A and B into this expression given. So this will be what? 25 squared plus 2 squared, which is what we have there. 25 squared plus 2 squared, whose answer is A. Let's move on to question 27. So 27, so it states here, if, and we must understand when we see these two parallel lines on either side of that variable A, in matrices it represents the determinant. So this means the determinant of A is equal to 0. Then A, so if the determinant is 0, we know the determinant of a matrix is AD minus BC is equal to 0. And once the determinant is 0, it tells us it is a singular matrix, whose answer is B. Let's move on to question 28. So 28, we have the matrix, and we want to state what's the order of that matrix. So the order of a matrix, it is simply, so the order of a matrix is the number of rows. So it's the number of rows times the number of columns. So our rows always run horizontally. So how many rows we have here? We have 1, 2, 3 rows. So the number of rows will be 3. So we have 3 rows times the number of columns. Our columns run vertically. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 columns. So the order of that matrix is a 3 by 4 matrix whose answer is C. Let's move on to question 29. So 29. If the vectors P and Q are 3, 2, and these are known as column vectors, and negative 1, 4, respectively, then negative P minus 2Q is. So we know P is 3, 2, Q, negative 1, 4, and we want to determine what is negative P minus 2Q. So what we're going to do first is work out negative P, which is to put that negative sign in front of the column vector of P, which is 3, 2. And note, when we have this negative sign in front of this column vector, negative 1 is understood. And you can simply multiply negative 1, it's known as a scalar, by 3 and 2. So this becomes negative 3, negative 2. So that's a negative P. Now what we're going to do is to work out 2Q. So we work out negative P, we work out 2Q, and then we're going to subtract them. Yeah? So let's work out 2Q. This is simply to multiply 2 by the column vector 4Q, which is negative 1, 4. And we're going to multiply that scalar 2 by negative 1, which is negative 2. And 2 by 4 is 8. So having found negative P and 2Q, let us now subtract them. So this will be what? Negative 3, negative 2, subtract negative 2, 8. All right, that's negative P minus 2Q, which becomes negative 3 subtract negative 2, which we put in brackets to separate the signs. And this is negative 2 subtract 8, which will simplify to become negative 3 plus 2 and negative 2 subtract 8, which is negative 1, negative 10. Whose answer there is D. All right, let's move on to question 30. So we have a vector question. So question 30 states, item 30 refers to the following diagram of triangle OLM, in which R is the midpoint of OL. R is the midpoint. So we see in R here, which is the midpoint of OL. Further, OR, now all vector quantities will have magnitude and direction. So it means that OR, the arrow will indicate the direction, and the magnitude is 3a minus 2b. So that's the magnitude and of course direction of the vector OR. And vector OM, so of course all vector quantities will have direction and magnitude. The direction will be from O to M, and the magnitude is 2a plus 3b. Good? And what I want us to do is to determine what is the magnitude of the vector LM. So vector LM, so I see my connection from L to M, so I must put my direction from L to M, and what we're going to implement here to help us to find LM is something called the triangle law. We see a triangle, and with the triangle law, we must have a triangle 1, and we must have information for 2 vectors. We must have the magnitudes of 2 vectors on that triangle. LM falls within this big triangle, as we see. We have the magnitude of OM, and we have the magnitude of OR. And remember, R is the midpoint of OL. So if R is the midpoint and OR, the magnitude of OR is 3a minus 2b, it also means that the magnitude of RL is 3a minus 2b. And therefore the magnitude of OL, that vector OL, will be 3a minus 2b plus 3a minus 2b, which will give us 3a plus 3a, which is 6a, and minus 2b minus 2b is negative 4b. Now that's for the entire vector OL. So now that we have the magnitude of OL, we have the magnitude of OM, let's find the magnitude of LM. So we're using the triangle law. So using the triangle law, and the triangle law is implemented when two vectors move in the same direction. Once they move in the same direction, you add them. So we're going to say vector OL plus vector LM, because these two vectors move in the same direction as we see indicated by the arrows, and this will give us vector in that order OM. So what we have done is to create an equation based on this very important law, and we can now proceed to find LM. So to get LM, we're going to make it the subject. So we're going to subtract OL from both sides, and we're going to take OL, bring it over to the right and change the sign, negative OL. And therefore vector LM is equal to vector OM, whose magnitude is 2a plus 3b, subtract vector OL, whose magnitude is 6a minus 4b. But we make sure we put 6a minus 4b in brackets, right? To set, because you have a negative sign and you have two terms coming after, you make sure you put those two terms in brackets. So this becomes what? LM is equal to 2a plus 3b, we remove the bracket, minus 1 by 6a is negative 6a, minus 1 by negative 4b is positive 4b. And we can now group like terms to give us 2a minus 6a plus 3b plus 4b, and that becomes negative 4a plus 7b, or as stated in the answer, which is b, we can rewrite it as 7b minus 4a. That's the answer for 30. Question 31. Item 31 refers to the following diagram, which shows a cylinder with diameter 6 centimeters and height 20 centimeters. The volume of the cylinder in cm cubed and in terms of pi is, so for question 31, a cylinder is also known as a prism, and if we have to find the volume of any prism, a prism is a solid where you have the same shape on either end along its length or height in this case of a cylinder. So to find the volume of a cylinder, because it is a prism, the general formula it is area of a cross section multiplied by height. The cross section will be the end, which is a circle, and the area of a circle is pi r squared multiplied by the height. So that's the formula for the volume of the cylinder. So let's put in the relevant information. If this is the diameter, 6 centimeters, the radius will be half that, so it's going to be pi times 3 squared multiplied by the height, which is 20. And you know 3 squared is 9. 9 by pi is 9 pi by 20. And 9 pi by 20 will give us 180 pi. So the volume of the cylinder in cm cubed and in terms of pi will be for question 31, that is C. Let's look at question 32. So question 32. Question 32. Items 32 refer to the following diagram, which shows a circle centered at O and with a sector and the major and minor arcs indicated. So for 32, we have here a sector. Your sector is EOF or FOE, so we have one sector. And it states here, if the area of the minor sector EOF is 103 cm cubed, so the area of the sector it is 103 cm squared. Sorry. Then the area of the circle is what? Now, this circle, if we look at the sector angle, it is 60 degrees. A circle has an angle of 360 degrees, so it means that we can get 6 60-degree sector angles within this circle. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, so we have 6 sectors, each of 60 degrees, and each of an area of 103 cm squared. So therefore, if we have to determine what is the area of the circle, the area of circle will be to multiply 103 by 6. And 103 by 6 will give us 618 centimeters squared, whose answer for question 32 is D. Let's move on to question 33. So 33, it says if it took a speedboat 9 hours to travel a distance of 1,080 kilometers, what is the average speed in kilometers per hour? So average speed, 33, average speed is equal to total distance over total time. The total distance is 1,080 kilometers. The total time it is 9 hours. So when we divide 9 into 1,080, this will give us 120 kilometers per hour. For question 33, our answer it is C. Let's move on to question 34. So 34. So it states here, if the lengths of the sides of a triangle are x, 2x, and 2x centimeters, if the perimeter is 20 centimeters, what is the value of x? So the lengths of the sides of a triangle, so we have a triangle, and the lengths of the sides are 2x, 2x, and x centimeters. And if the perimeter is 20 centimeters, what's the value of x? So perimeter, we know it's a distance around, so we're going to find the sum of all our sides, and that is equal to 20. So we have created a simple equation, and let's solve for x. So 2x plus 2x will be 4x plus 1x will be 5x is equal to 20, and we divide both sides by 5, x will be equal to 4, whose answer is E. Let's look at question 35. So 35, it states here for 35, 50 guests had 2 glasses of champagne each. Each glass held 150 milliliters. How many liters of champagne were used? So we have 50 guests. Each guest had 2 glasses, and they want us to determine how many liters of champagne were used, keeping in mind each glass held 150 milliliters. So if one glass is equal to 150 milliliters, let's determine how many milliliters will 2 glasses equal to. So 2 glasses will be equal to 150 times 2, which is 300 milliliters. But the question asks how many liters of champagne were used. So if 2 glasses gives us 300 milliliters, let us convert that 300 milliliters to liters. So 300 milliliters to liters. And if we're going from milliliters to liters, we have to know the conversion factor, which is 1,000 milliliters is equal to 1 liter. And because we're moving from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, when you're moving from a smaller unit to a bigger, you divide. So we're going to divide 300 by 1000, and then dividing by 1000, we move this point 1, 2, 3 places to the left. So this will be equal to 0.3 liters. Alright? So it means that 2 glasses will be equal to 0.3 liters. And you had 50 guests. The question asks how many liters of champagne were used in all. You had 50 guests, each had 2 glasses of 2 glasses of champagne. So therefore, the number of liters of champagne used will be to multiply 0.3 liters by 50 guests. So that will be 50 by 0.3, and 50 by 0.3 will give us, that is 15 liters. Okay, so the answer for question 35 is C. Let's move on now to question 36. So question 36. So question 36. It says here, a square has the same perimeter as a rectangle with length 15 centimeters and width 11 centimeters. What is the area of the square? So for question 36, we have a square, we have a rectangle. So we know with a square, all 4 sides are the same length, and of course it states here it has the same perimeter as a rectangle. For that rectangle, the length is what? 15 centimeters, the width is 11 centimeters. So what is the perimeter of this rectangle? This will also be 15 centimeters, this will also be 11 centimeters. So we know 15 plus 15 is 30, 11 plus 11 is 22. So 30 plus 22 will give us 52 centimeters. And if the perimeter of the square is equal to the perimeter of rectangle, the perimeter of the square will be x plus x plus x plus x, which is 4x. The perimeter of the rectangle, we got that to be 52 centimeters. So therefore, the length of, well, x, let's find x. X will be found by dividing 52 by 4. So therefore, 4 into 52 will give us, that will give us 13. So therefore, we know that the length of one side of our square will be 13 centimeters. And hence the question asks us to determine what is the area of the square. So if we know the length of one side of the square now it's 13 centimeters, therefore the area of the square will be 13 by 13, 169 cm squared. Alright? So 169 cm squared, if we would have attempted the paper and we got that correct, of course the answer will be D. So let's look at question 37. 37. So 37 states the circumference of a circle is 154 centimeters. So given that pi is 22 over 7, the radius of the circle in centimeters is. So we know that the circumference of a circle, the formula is 2 pi r. They told us to use pi as 22 over 7. The circumference is 154 centimeters. We know that pi, this is 2 by 22 over 7 times the radius. So let's work it out. This will be 154. 2 multiplied by 22 over 7 will give us 44 over 7 times r. And therefore, if we have to get r by itself, what we're going to simply do is to divide 154 by 44 over 7. So both sides we are dividing by 44 over 7. So we're going to get r by itself. And therefore 154 divided by 44 over 7 is 154 multiplied by 7 over 44. Yeah? When we work that out, what are we going to get? We can simply say 154 by 7 will give us 1078 divided by 44, and we should have gotten 24.5 centimeters will be equal to the radius of that circle. Yeah, whose answer there is B. So let's move on to question 38. Question 38. So for 38 it says, the distance around a lake is 8 kilometers on a map. So the distance around the lake is 8 kilometers, sorry. On a map, this distance around the lake is represented by a length of 2 centimeters. The scale on the map is, so for 38, we have our reading on the map, and we have the actual distance. So distance on map, actual distance. So the distance on the map is 2 centimeters, and the actual distance is what? 8 kilometers. So the actual is what occurs in real life. And of course 2 centimeters will be what exists on the map. So in order for us to determine what is the scale on the map, what we have to do is establish a proportional relationship between what is on the map and what is the actual distance. But in order for us to do so, the units must be the same. We can't have centimeters and kilometers. So let's convert kilometers larger into the smaller centimeters. So we have to identify how many centimeters we have in 1 kilometer, so we can convert kilometers to centimeters. And we know that if 10 millimeters is equal to 1 centimeter, 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter, and 1,000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. And if you have to move from centimeters to kilometers, I have to multiply 100 by 1,000. That's 100,000 centimeters is equal to 1 kilometer. Yeah? And therefore, 8 kilometers, if I have to convert that to centimeters, I'm moving from a bigger to a smaller unit. When you're moving from bigger to smaller, what do? You multiply. So I'm going to multiply 8 by 100,000 to give me 800,000 centimeters. So I've converted my 8 kilometers now to centimeters, and I can establish a proportional relationship between the map and the distance. This will be 2 centimeters to 800,000 centimeters, and that can be simplified now to become divided by 2, 1 centimeter to 400,000 centimeters. Whose answer is, well, it's already circled, whose answer is D. Let's move on now to question 39. Let's look at question 39. So items 39 and 40 refer to the following table, which shows the number of books that 58 students bought at a sale. So we have here a number of books, we have a number of students. So for 39, it states the mode of the number of books bought is. So we have to determine the mode. For data on a table, the mode is the observation. The observation represents number of books bought, which is X, and the number of students will be your frequency. So the mode is your observation, which represents number of books, corresponding to the highest frequency. The highest frequency in this case is 13. So the observation, which is 5, corresponding to the highest frequency, which is 13. Yeah, and therefore we can recognize what's the mode, which is 5. So for 39, our mode is equal to 5. For 40, the median number of books the student bought at the sale is. So for us to determine the median number of books, for data again on a frequency table, and this data is on-group data, for us to find the median, we have to introduce something called a cumulative frequency. So I'm going to rewrite my table vertically. The table is now horizontal, so I'm going to rewrite it vertically. So I have here number of books bought. We have number of students. So our number of books bought will be X, number of students will be F, and we're going to include cumulative frequency. So the cumulative frequency is otherwise known as your running total. So we have here number of books bought 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have the number of students. So 9 students bought 3 books, 9 students bought 4 books, 13 bought 5, 11 bought 6, 9 bought 7, and 7 bought 8. So we need to complete this column known as the cumulative frequency. So we start with the first value in our frequency column, the number of students column, which is 9. We have 9 to 9, which will give us 18. We're going to add 18 to 31, which will give us, to 13, sorry, 18 to 13 will give us 31. We add 31 to 11, 31 plus 11 will give us 42. We add 42 to 9, which will give us 51. And we add 51 to 7, which will give us 58. So our total frequency is 58. That's our total frequency. If you add up all these numbers in the frequency column, you're also going to get 58. So for us to determine what's the median number of students, we're going to use an important formula to help us to locate the position of the median. Yeah? The rank of the median. So position or rank of median will be found by using this important formula. A half times n plus 1. N, of course, will be the number of observations. The number of observations, well, total number of students in this case. N will be the total number of students, which is 58. That is a half times 58 plus 1. A half times 59. And a half times 59 will give us, that is the 29th and a half position. Or rank, yeah? So the 29th and a half rank will occur between the 18th and the 31st rank. So this is 29 and a half here. And what we're going to do is always, in this case, approximate to the higher rank. So we will approximate 29 and a half to the 31st rank. And the 31st rank corresponds to a median, so our median number of books now, our median number of books will be equal to 5 books. So the median number of books bought will be 5 books. So whose answer is B. Alright, and don't forget for 39 the answer is E. So let's move on to question 41. So question 41. Items 41 refer to the following pie chart, which shows the popular games played by a group of students. So basketball, cricket, football, tennis. If 180 students played football, how many students are in the group? So what we can do again, we can establish a proportional relationship. Again, the knowledge of ratio and proportion will come into play here. And we know if 180 students play football, we can establish a relationship between degrees and the number of students who play football. So we know that we have 90 degrees is equal to 180 students who play football. And therefore we have to determine how many students are in the group. the total number of students in the group will be represented by 360 degrees. So if 90 degrees is 180 students, 1 degree will be 180 all over 90, and therefore 360 degrees will be 180 over 90 by 360. And this will give us 2 zeros go, 2 zeros go, 9 to 9, 1, 9 to 18 is 2, and 2 multiplied by 360 will give us 720 students. Whose answer is C. So let's move on to question 42. So 42. Item 42 refers to the following chart, which shows the amount of fish bought in kilograms by the first 60 customers at a fish market. How many customers bought at least 6 kilograms of fish? So you want the numbers of customers who bought at least 6 kilograms of fish. So at least 6 kilograms of fish will be customers who bought 6 or more. So at least 6, we're looking at x is greater than or equal to, this is 42, x is greater than or equal to 6. So we're looking at 6 or more. So let's see. To determine the number of customers who bought at least 6, we are going to look at the number of fish bought. If it's 6, 6 corresponds to how many customers? That looks like between 10 and 12 halfway. That will be 11 customers. So number of fish bought. So we have here 6, and 6 will correspond to, in terms of customers, 6 corresponds to 11. So if we have 7, so at least 6 or more, so we can add 7. So 7 fish bought, how many customers bought 7? So this will be, that's going to correspond to, 7 corresponds to 5 customers. How many customers bought 8? That will correspond to, 4. How many customers bought 9? That will correspond to 7. And how many customers bought 10? That will correspond to 3 customers. So 3 customers bought 10 fish. So how many customers bought at least 6 kilograms of fish, which will be 6 or more? So the number of customers will be 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 7 plus 3. That will give us 6 plus 5 is 11, 11 plus 4 is 15, 15 plus 7 is 22, 22 plus 3. Am I right? 6 plus 5 is 11, 11 plus 4, 15, 15 plus 7, that is 22, 22 plus 3 should give us 25. Let's double check to see. So 6 gave us 11, oh, I'm seeing a mistake here. 6 gave us 11. Alright, let's double check. 7 gave us 5, 8 gave us 4, 9 gave us 7, and 10 gave 3. Yeah, so 11 plus 5 will be 16, 16 plus 4 is 20, 20 plus 7 will be 27, and 27 plus 3 will be 30. So we can have 30 customers whose answer is C. Let's move on to question 43. So 43. Item 43 refers to the following diagram, which shows the cumulative frequency curve of the height of 20 plants. the interquartile range of the set of measurements is. So for interquartile range, which are denoted by IQR, is equal to your upper quartile minus lower quartile. The upper quartile is 3q subscript 3, the lower quartile is q subscript 1. So the upper quartile, q subscript 3, first we have to locate the position of q3. So the position of q3 is found by finding 3/4 n, 3/4 of the total frequency, or the highest value on your cumulative frequency axis. So this will be 3/4 times 15 and 3/4 times 20, sorry. 3/4 times 20, 4 into 20 is 5. 5 by 3 is what? 15. So we're looking at the 15th rank or the 15th position. But for us to determine what is the upper quartile, the height corresponding to the position of that upper quartile, what we're going to do is to locate 15 on our cumulative frequency axis. We're going to draw a dotted line across to touch the curve, and we're going to travel towards the height axis. Okay? So this will be what? Now if 5 subdivisions is equal to 2 units, 2 divided by 5 will give us 0.4. So every subdivision here is equal to 0.4 units. So this is 4, this will be 4.4, this will be 4.8, and this will be 5.2. So this will be 5.2. So our upper quartile Q3 is equal to 5.2 based on the curve. Let's look at the lower quartile Q1. So we have to get the position of Q1. The position of Q1, that is a quarter times n. So we're going to multiply a quarter by the total frequency, or the highest value of your cumulative frequency axis. So a quarter times 20 is 5. So that is the position of our lower quartile. And let's see what height that corresponds to. So we find 5. We draw a dotted line across, touch the curve, and we can now travel towards the height axis. So this looks like about, if this is 2, we can, that looks like about 2.4, yeah? So 2.4, so the lower quartile Q1 will be probably about here, about 2.4, yeah? Or if not, probably about 2.4, about 2.45, yeah? So, to determine the interquartile range is going to be 5.2 minus 2.45. And 5.2 minus 2.45, just quickly work it out here, 5.2 minus 2.45 will give us looking at 2.75. Yeah, which you can approximate to 2.8, and the closest value here we're looking at about 2.6. It's an approximation. So this question we have to do a bit of approximation. If this is 2, we're looking at here that's 2.4, 15, if this is 4, 4.4, 4.8. This looks like about 5, I'll put 5 point, let me draw this better. Yeah? Looking like about 5.25. You can say 5.25, yeah? And we have 2.45. Yeah, I mean 2.8. And the closest value there to 2.8 will be B, which is 2.6. Alright? So we're going to go with, it's an approximation in this case, so let's go with 2.6, which is the closest value. So the interquartile range is your upper quartile minus lower quartile, and we have to do what we call interpolation, moving from the y-axis to the x to determine what are both quartiles and subtract them. Okay, let's move on to question 44. So of course you can check properly to make sure you can recognize what is on the x-axis and you calculate accordingly, but the closest value there will be 2.6. So let's look at 45. 44 in fact. So we're looking at question 44. So 44, items 44 refer to the following table, which shows the results of a survey of 100 persons from two major ethnic groups, P and R. Respondents were interviewed about their attitude towards mathematics. So we have the attitude, positive, neutral, negative, and of course the total attitude. We have the ethnic groups, P and R, and we have the totals. A respondent from ethnic group P is selected at random. What is the probability that he has a negative attitude towards mathematics? So, probability respondent P and probability, let me write it a bit lower. So, probability respondent P, and probability is the number of ways an event is favored over the total number of possible ways. So the number of ways an event is favored over the total number of possible ways. So let's see. It states here, what is the probability that he has a negative attitude towards mathematics? So, respondent P, a negative attitude towards mathematics. We have 24 respondents. That's the number of ways it is favored. So, 24 respondents over the total number of possible ways. The total number of ways will be 100 ways, right? So, we can consider all the attitudes, right? Which is the total number. 100. So you're going to put 24 over 100, which can simplify to, this is 4 into 24 is 6, and 4 into 100 will give us 25. So we're going to get 6 over 25, whose answer there is B. Let's move on now to question 45. So 45. The point where a linear function crosses the x-axis is, so if I have a linear means a line that is sloping. So if I have a linear function, this is my y-axis, x-axis, and this linear function crosses the x-axis. So let me put that in red. So where it crosses the x-axis there, it is known as the X-intercept. So this is my X-intercept, whose answer is B. Question 46. Item 46 refers to the following mapping diagram. The relationship that best describes a mapping in the diagram is, so question 46. This here is many to 1. Why many to 1? Because if you look, we have many elements of the domain. This is your domain. This is your range. So we have many elements of the domain being mapped onto one element of the range. So clearly that will be many to 1. So let's move on to 47. So 46, many to 1. 47. H of x is equal to 3x minus 2 over 5. Then h of minus 6. So if h of x is equal to 3x minus 2 over 5, then h of negative 6 will be to simply replace x in the expression for h of x with negative 6. This becomes 3 times negative 6 in brackets minus 2 over 5. 3 by negative 6 will be negative 18 minus 2 over 5. Negative 18 minus 2 will be negative 20 over 5, and we're going to get negative 4. So the answer for question 47 will be A. Let's move on to question 48. So 48. So 48 and 49 refers to the following quadratic functions. We have a quadratic function. The maximum point of y equal to 4x minus x squared is, so this is our maximum point, and the coordinates of that point will be 2 on the x, 4 on the y. So for question 48, the answer will be 2, 4, which is D. Question 49. The values of x at the point where y equal to 4x squared minus x squared, the quadratic function, intersects the line y equal to 0 r. Now y equal to 0 is the same as your x-axis. That is y equal to 0. So for us to determine the values of x where the curve and the x-axis meet, we're looking at here at x equal to 0 and x equal to 4. So the answer for 49 will be x equal to 0 and x equal to 4. So x equal to 0 and x equal to 4, whose answer is E. Let's move on to question 50. Which of the following equations represent a straight line? So for 50, we know a straight line, it's for linear function, it's of the form y equal to mx plus c. So the equation that is of that form y equal to mx plus c will be c, because y plus 3 equal to 2x can be expressed in that form. If I am to make y the subject, y will be equal to 2x minus 3. So we have y, m is 2, x, and c is negative 3. So the answer there is D. So let's move on to question 51. So 51. Which of the following sets is represented by the function f is such that x is mapped onto x squared plus 3, where x belongs to the set of whole numbers 0, 1, 2, 3. So for us to determine which of the following sets will represent the function given, we can simply use a mapping diagram to assist in this regard. We have 0, 1, 2, 3. And when we substitute 0 into our function for x, when I replace x with 0, 0 squared is 0, and 0 plus 3 will give me 3. So 0 is mapped onto 3. 1 is mapped onto 1 squared is 1, 1 plus 3 gives me 4. 2 is mapped onto 2 squared is 4, 4 plus 3 is 7. 3 is mapped onto 3 squared is 9, 9 plus 3 is 12. So we can simply write this as a set of ordered pairs. So this will be open curly bracket 0, 3, one ordered pair. We have 1, 4, another ordered pair. We have 2, 7, another ordered pair. And we have 3, 12, another ordered pair. So we have our set of ordered pairs whose answer there is D. Question 52. So let's move on to 52. So 52. A line L is parallel to the line 2x minus 5y minus 8 equal to 0. What is the gradient of the line L? So for question 52, we have this line L, assume that's your line L, and it is parallel to another line whose equation is 2x minus 5y minus 8 is equal to 0. So we want to determine what is the gradient of the line L. So to find the gradient of the line L, I can take this equation I have here, and I can, because it is the equation of a line, I can express this equation in the form y equal to mx plus c. Once I've expressed it in that form, what I can comfortably do now is find m, which is the gradient. So let me express that in the form so I can find the gradient. And when I find the gradient, because these two lines are parallel, the gradients will be the same. So let's get the gradient of this line whose equation is shown by putting it in this form. So we have 2x minus 5y minus 8 is equal to 0. Let me remove 2x and negative 8 from the left of the equal sign to the right. So this will be negative 5y. Positive 2x will come across to the right as negative 2x. Negative 8 will come across to the right as positive 8. And what I'm going to do now is divide both sides by negative 5. So negative 5y over negative 5. Negative 2x plus 8 divided by negative 5. My two negative 5's will divide into each other to give 1, and we'll get y by itself. And at this point, for me to get it in the form y equal to mx plus c, I have to separate my terms. So I'm going to write this as negative 2x over negative 5. This is me separating. This will be plus 8 over negative 5. And therefore, I can write this now as y is equal to a minus divided by a minus is a plus. So I'm going to get 2x over 5 or 2/5 x. And a plus divided by a minus is a minus. So I'm going to get 2/5 x. And this will be 8 over 5, negative 8 over 5. So I have it in the form y equal to mx plus c. And the gradient of this line now will be 2/5. That is m, my gradient. So the gradient of this line will be 2/5. And because they are parallel, these two lines are parallel, the gradient of this line L is also 2/5. So my answer for question 52 is C, 2/5. Let's move on to 53. So 53, items 53 refer to the following diagram of a circle. If O is the center of the circle, then Y is. So of course we must know our circle theorems to answer this question. So for 53, one of the theorems simply states that the angle at the center is always twice the angle at the circumference subtended by the same arc. So this arc here subtends this angle at the center, and the same arc subtends that angle at the circumference. So if this angle is 50 at the circumference, then the angle at the center will be twice that, which will be 100. So let me put that in red. So this will be 100 degrees. So the angle at O at the center, which is Y, will be equal to 50 by 2, which is 100 degrees, whose answer is D. Question 54. So 54, it states here, in the diagram, item 54 refer to the following diagram. So it states here, in the diagram we have here PQ and RS are parallel. Which of the following best describes the relation between X and Y? So for 54, for us to determine that relation, what are we going to do? Because these two lines are parallel, then our knowledge of alternate angles can come into play here. And for alternate angles are equal and Z-shaped in form. I have my two parallel lines. Once I observe that Z-shaped two parallel lines, then this angle is equal to this angle. So therefore, for alternate angles is Z-shaped, angle X is equal to angle Y, whose answer is E. So let's look at question 55. So 55 may be a bit difficult to see 55, but let's look at it. What sequence of transformations will map rectangle WXYZ onto its image rectangle W prime X prime Y prime and Z prime? What sequence of transformations? What sequence of transformations will map rectangle WXYZ onto its image rectangle W double prime X double prime Y double prime Z double prime? So what is going to take place here for 55? So for 55, in moving from WXYZ, what we have here to W prime, X prime, Y prime, Z prime, we have a reflection about the Y-axis. So we have reflection about the Y-axis, and therefore to move from W prime, X prime, Y prime, Z prime to W double prime, X double prime, Y double prime, Z double prime, that there is an enlargement, and when you identify an enlargement, you have to include the scale factor and the center of enlargement. So in this case, we have a reflection about the y-axis, yeah, and it is followed by, and this will be an enlargement, and an enlargement whose scale factor, and I'm going to identify the scale factor K. We know the scale factor K, and the scale factor is image length. This is how we find the scale factor over object length. And our image length, W prime, W double prime, X double prime, Y double prime, and Z double prime will be our image. So we can take the image length if you want to go with, and you're going to take two corresponding lengths. If you want to take Y double prime, Z double prime, that is the image length, over the object length, Y prime, Z prime, we're going to get this scale factor. Y double prime, Z double prime will be 2 units, from -3 to -1, that's 2 units, over Y prime, Z prime will be 4 units, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the scale factor here is a half. So we know the scale factor is a half. Hence the reason why it is diminished. But it's also important for us to recognize the center of rotation, the center of enlargement, in fact, sorry. So to determine the center of enlargement, what we're going to do is to connect corresponding points. We can connect and let's see where these corresponding points will meet. So I can draw a line from y prime through y double prime. I can also draw a line from w prime through w double prime, and we see that those two lines meet at the center. If you want to go with x prime, x double prime, all meet at the center. So we know that our center of enlargement is the origin. So that's how we find the center of enlargement. Just extend the corresponding points for objects and image. So we can state here that our center of enlargement is the origin. So our answer for this question will be, we have a reflection about the y-axis followed by an enlargement whose center of enlargement of scale factor k over half and center of enlargement that is the origin. And therefore, if we look, we can see that this answer here will be B. Alright, so it's a bit difficult to see the solution to that question, but I'll try my best to enlarge the text. So let's look at question 56. So 56. So also the text needs to be enlarged. Question 56. In the following diagram, A prime is the image of A. Which of the following diagrams show a reflection in the x-axis? So we have A prime, and we have A being the object, A prime being the image. So reflection taking place about the x-axis will be D. So our answer for question 56 will be D, pretty straightforward. Let's move on to 57. A triangle ABC angle AX degrees and angle B 2x degrees. What is the size of angle C? So we have a triangle ABC. So the angle at A is x degrees. The angle at B, it is 2x degrees. And we need to determine what is the angle at C. So pretty simple. The sum of three angles of a triangle will give 180 degrees. So we know the angle at C will be 180 degrees. Subtract x degrees plus 2x degrees, which is the same as 180 degrees minus 3x degrees. And whose answer there will be A. So let's move on to question 58. Item 58 refers to the following diagram, which shows the angle of depression of point X from Z. The angle of depression of point X from Z is 35 degrees. If X is 12 meters from Y, then the height YZ in meters is. So this is our angle of depression here, which is 35 degrees. And what we want to do is to determine what is the height YZ. So to find that height YZ, what we can implement here will be alternate angles. Alternate angles, we have that Z shape, two parallel lines. You see the Z shape. So this angle of depression is 35 degrees. Then this angle here is also 35 degrees, which will be your angle of elevation. So what we can do is now introduce our knowledge of trigonometry to help us to find the height YZ. So what I'm going to do is single out the triangle, right angle triangle. So this vertical meets the horizontal at 90. So I have my right angle. This is X, this is Y, this is Z, this is 12 meters, this is 35 degrees. So for me to find the height YZ, the first thing I'm going to do is to label. This will be my side opposite. This here is my hypotenuse, which is opposite the right angle. So the side opposite is always opposite the acute angle, in this case 35 degrees, and this side will be my side adjacent. So to find the height yz, I often circle the side I need to find, which is opposite, and I circle the side I have information for, which is adjacent, and the two sides will correspond to the trig function tan theta, which is equal to side opposite all over side adjacent, and I can comfortably write here tan 35 degrees is equal to my side opposite, which is yz, over my side adjacent, which is 12. And therefore, to get yz by itself, I can put tan 35 over 1, and I can cross multiply that point. So 1 by yz will give me yz. This will be 12 multiplied by tan 35 degrees. So yz is equal to 12 multiplied by tan 35, whose answer here for 58 is D. So let's look at question 59. So question 59, we have here, item 59 refers to the following diagram of a right angle triangle ABC. In the right angle triangle above, with which trigonometric ratio is equal to 4 over 8. So 4 over 8 will correspond to the acute angle x degrees. And again, we are using our fact where trigonometry can come into play, so we can label the sides of this right angle triangle. This side opposite the acute angle x is my side opposite. This side opposite the right angle triangle is the hypotenuse, and the remaining side is the adjacent side. But the two sides we have information for that can help us to achieve that ratio 4 over 8 will be the opposite side and the hypotenuse. And the trig function that links opposite and hypotenuse will be sine the angle x. So sine the angle x is equal to side opposite all over the hypotenuse, and therefore sine x will give us 4 over 8. So you're going to get that ratio, and sine x will allow that to happen, whose answer is 8. And the last question, 60. So 60. Under the translation -2, 3, the image of -5, 3 is. So this here is a transformation. So we have the object point, which is -5, 3. So I write that as a column vector. And under the translation, what is the image of that point, -5, 3? So our translation as a column vector as well as -2, 3. And the equation for translation is object point plus the translation is equal to image point. The object point is -5, 3 plus my translation, which is -2, 3. And that will help me to determine what is my image. Image of that point, -5, 3. So this becomes -5 plus -2 in brackets, 3 plus 3. So a plus by a minus is a minus. So we're going to get -5, subtract 2, 3 plus 3, -7, 6. So the answer for question 60, and we can rewrite it back as a row vector. And of course, we will state the answer here as C. So this will bring us to the end of the solutions to January 2023 CSEC multiple choice paper. I hope that the information shared was beneficial to you all. Please ensure that you like my page, subscribe to the channel, and follow me for more videos, more information that will be shared. And See you next time. So, have a great one.